Welcome, I'm Pat, that Halloween movie collector. Welcome to part 2 of my 40th anniversary Halloween 3 Season of the Witch retrospective. Last week we looked at all the promotional material that I have in my collection. So this week we're going to take a look at the physical media I've collected over the years. Physical media being VHS, beta, laser discs, soundtracks, magazines, novels, etc. That kind of stuff. All the fun stuff. Anything really related to the movie, because that's where you're going to either read or visually see the movie. So some of my favorite aspects of all the movies, because let's face it, it's all about the movie. So we're going to take a look at that stuff this week. So I got everything set aside next to me. I'll be bringing everything out, showing everything, and I'll be popping pictures up there so you get to see better pictures of everything as well. So without further ado, let's get this started. So aside from seeing Halloween 3 in the theater in 1982 when it was released, eventually you would eventually see it on a few forms of media that were out at the time. One being the most popular of the time, one of my favorites, which is VHS. So this here would be the Halloween 3 first release VHS. Got the iconic trick-or-treaters on the cover. Some great photos on the back, a little bitty Kupfer clawing at his mask. Several years later, Good Time Videos would do a re-release of them and slightly change the cover to this, which they would just add our friendly little trick-or-treaters with the skull, pumpkin, and witch mask, and the back would look a little bit different as well. It still has... Oh, it's Dan Chalice in the top corner. I can't remember exactly what it was without looking at it. But still, very cool cover nonetheless. Also, a popular, well, actually, in 1982, it was starting to wane a little bit, but it was more popular in the 70s as a form of media called Beta. Those of you my age remember Betamax players. Now, basically, it looks just like a smaller version of a VHS. So this is what a Betamax will look like. It's smaller. This is the release of it. Basically the same art that you would see on the first release VHS. Now, for those that have never seen a Betamax tape and are familiar with VHS tapes, they're just smaller versions. They actually had better high quality than VHS tapes, but the issue was VHS was more cost effective to make. So little by little, Beta went by the wayside, and I think they stopped producing Beta tapes probably in the late 80s, if I'm not mistaken. And going back to VHS, something that's I always loved is all the Japanese artwork for other movies, and basically all Japanese artwork, since it's different and it's always colorful. I always loved it. So this is the Halloween 3 Japanese VHS tape. And it's got that awesome, amazing cover art. Some great cover art on the back as well. So you can't beat that, especially the majority of them, if not all of the Japanese tapes. Well, I have all the Halloween Japanese tapes, all the different movies. They always come in the clamshell cases, which is nice. I always like the clamshell. Protects it, as well as it looks a lot cooler. Then those of my age group would remember the store was near and dear to our heart, Blockbuster. So this came out probably, I want to say, probably in the 90s, early 90s. I don't know. I have to look at it and look at the date. Can't even see the date without my glasses. But it was they decided to do a trilogy box set. This one's not even opened. I bought it. I got it as a discount. Because I had them already, but I had bought them at the time because I figured, it'd be cool just to add it. Never opened it. And it's got Halloween 2, and Halloween 3 in it, as you can see. And the most intriguing part of this is the cover art. Pose it. It's Michael Myers. But it's Michael Myers from The Curse of Michael Myers. It's not any of the 3 movies that are actually contained in the set. Always found that a little odd. Quality control at its best. Next, another form of media that was basically popular in the 70s and the 80s was the laserdisc. And I always found these very cool. I mean, they're basically just large records. So this would be the Halloween 3 laserdisc. It's hard to see with some of them because I keep everything in plastic because I like to keep everything in good shape. But it's great because it's like the size of an album. It's got great artwork if you want to just sit there and look at it. It's just basically a giant size silver LP is what it looks like. So that's that. Then we have what I always found to be pretty cool, but it's called a CED. It's a capacitance electronic disc system. It's basically a laser disc inside of a plastic cartridge. So these CEDs, they tried to become popular, but they failed because it was just easier to use laser disc. It basically, you would insert this end in here, it would open this up when you put it in, and the disc would come out. And at the time, they only put out, I believe only Halloween 2 and Halloween 3 made it onto CED, probably simply because they were both released by Universal. And Universal puts everything out to make a buck. And what we have here now, which is pretty cool too, is another form of a laser disc, which is called a VHD. Now, this was only in Japan. They put it out to sort of compete with CEDs and laser discs, but it never caught on. And I don't believe it even made it here to America. I think all the releases you see on VHD are Japanese. I don't think it made its way over here. And I don't know. I know they put out Halloween 3. I've never seen a Halloween 2, but something tells me it probably is out there because it being released by Universal, I wouldn't be surprised if they put it out. So keep your eyes out for that. I know I will. Next, we would have probably the most popular form of media, the DVD. And here you have Halloween 3 on good old DVD. So you can't beat that classic artwork. You know, just very simple, great quality. Not much to be said. Over the years, it's come out in various forms. This was FYE exclusive that came out a couple of years ago, Steelbook, which I thought was some great artwork on both the front and the back. And you can actually get the matching poster with these when you ordered them. This is very cool. This is another Steelbook. This is with a lenticular cover from Germany. It's hard to see, but it's got that lenticular cover, and yeah, it's just such great stuff. Germany, just like Japan, always has some different artwork, and it's always spectacular. Love it. So this is, and they actually put out a Halloween 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 with these lenticular covers. They never did 1, and they never did the rest of them. Why, I don't know. I'd love to see them do it. Then you would have, like I said, since Halloween 2 and Halloween 3 were released by Universal, they, pardon my French, whore it out and put it on anything they can because they own the rights to it. So they would package them. They still do to this day package them, where you get regular DVDs with Halloween 2 and Halloween 3 as a double feature. This is one of them. And then you have good old Walmart that puts them out every season and basically in slip covers and just changes the color on the slip cover. Like 1 year it's orange, 1 year it's green. So curious to see what the next color will be, but that's basically what they do. They're exactly the artwork varies a little bit. Actually, no, they're actually exactly the same. Yeah, but they're the ones left all the way to the bank because I'm a collector, I'm a jackass, and I buy them. Only good thing is they're always reasonable. I think they're maybe $6 or something like that. So can't beat it for that price. Then you would have, then this is where they started putting out box sets. Now, this is one of the higher elite collectible DVD sets, which is the Scream Factory set that came out. Great box cover art that everybody loves. And this set contained everything up to Zombie, everything up to Rob Zombie Part 2. So you have all your movies in there, including it. This is great because it's got a lot of extras and a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff and commentary. This was, great for the time. And this is if you don't have it in your collection, you need to get it, and you're going to pay for it because, although recently the prices have been coming down because I think people got a little crazy with their pricing, but you can get it out. You can get out there for a reasonable price. Then this was something that was in Walmart for years, and then I guess they discontinued it. Now this is worth more money because I saw people selling this for over $100, which I think it sold for about $45 new, which was this sort of a smaller version of the box set, the complete collection, which came in a small little slip case with 2 removable discs with all the multiple discs, 2 removable boxes, I should say, with multiple discs inside of it. So this is a very nice set, and for the price, you couldn't beat it. And like I said, this is discontinued now, so this is doubled in value. And this is basically the UK version of that smaller set, the complete collection, with some different cooler artwork, which I thought was cool. It's got a slip cover that when you pull it out, it just changes, and you see Jamie Lee right there. And it's got everything. This is a little different. It's only got everything up to Halloween Resurrection. But it's a nice little set to have, especially if you're a completist like myself. So you got to have that. And one of the newer sets to come out from Screen Factory was they came out with the 4Ks. And when you got the first group, they came in these little boxes that you like, little collectible boxes. Like here you have the artwork of little Buddy Kupfer holding onto his mask, clawing at his mask, as I should say, nothing on the back. But inside the box, you have the 4K set, which I'm not going to pull it out because I'm going to have, as you're going to see, pictures throughout this whole thing. But this is what I loved that it came with. It came with 7-inch vinyl records, this with different songs on it. So this has probably one of my favorite theme songs of the entire franchise, Chariots of Pumpkins and Season of the Witch. And the vinyl on multicolored vinyl. Very, very cool. I love me my vinyl, and we're getting to the vinyl too. We'll get there shortly. But that, I believe, is, yeah, those are all my DVDs. And one of my favorite parts of physical media is reading. I love books, magazines on any of the Halloween stuff, or just anything in general. I do like to read. I don't read as much as I used to because who's got the time? Let's face it. Thank God bless Audible and audiobooks. But you would see, I believe, I don't have any other magazines that have any Halloween 3 content. This is the cover of Fangoria, and it's got a whole article on about the movie. I can't think. I looked through my collection. I don't have any other Halloween 3 magazine. Well, any other magazine with Halloween 3 in it, aside from this little gem here. But you got to get this too. And if you're curious about all the other Fangoria Halloween covers, I'll throw a link right up here. I just did a little review of them, I think about a week or two on my Collectible Spotlights. Go check it out. And some other cool print media, which they just really started ramping up the past few years with the new Halloween trilogy, the Halloween novelizations. So this is the novelization of Halloween 3, which if you do read, it's got a lot of extra stuff in it. It's almost more sci-fi than horror. It's worth a read. So you can't beat that. It's a great book. That is the US version. This is the UK version, which looks exactly the same with the little, except for the little sticker on the front saying it's now a feature film and different printer and a different backing with some different writing on it, but it's the same book. And this with a little bit different artwork is the same book as well. It's the novelization from Germany. Like I said, I do love stuff that comes from other countries because when they change stuff up a bit, it's always cool to collect. So very cool cover art. Great book. Go read it. What better way to celebrate a movie than with one of my favorite things as well is vinyl. I grew up in the age of records. I love my vinyl, and I love the Halloween 3 soundtrack. If you want to go check out, I did a review a couple months back on my Collectible Spotlight. I did my top 5 Halloween soundtracks. So throw a link up here to that. Go check that out. And Halloween 3, came in at number 3 because it's a very divisive film. Not a lot of people love it. I love Halloween 3. I wouldn't put all this time and effort into a retrospective on a movie I really didn't care much about. I love it, and I love the soundtrack. So this would be the US release of the soundtrack on vinyl. You have John Carpenter and Alan Howarth working together on the back. Great stuff. This Death Waltz in the early, was it around 2011, 2012? Was it? I think it was about that long ago. They did a re-release of Halloween 3 on vinyl. Now, and I'll tell you about this in a second. That's the front. That's the back. Some basically the same photos of Alan Howarth and John Carpenter. It's all the same stuff that's on here, but it also came with a poster. And this right here, if you were part of the Death Waltz record club, the first 300, I think it was the first 350 people that ordered, you got this flexi disc with the soundtrack on it. And it actually had the London Bridge. Like, Dan did it, you know, 2 more days to Halloween is on that, which is very, very cool to have. And this is cool, nostalgic, because this is the kind of stuff you used to see in like giveaways and like newspapers. And I used to collect a lot of Mad magazines. Every so often they'd throw one of these little flexi discs in there. They're very cool. And then Death Waltz once it did another release. I think this was 2018. But they started doing a re-release of all this different soundtracks, and they even put out a little box to keep them in, which one of these days I'll do a whole thing on all the vinyl and change the cover art up a little bit to give you this Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Sort of made it look like a Silver Shamrock novelty thing. That's why it's up in the corner. Same thing here. And the artwork is from Mondo, which if you're a collector, especially of Halloween stuff, you know what Mondo is. So great, great stuff when it comes to vinyl. And just as much fun as vinyl, you know, which is, believe it or not, I see more and more people putting these out nowadays. Cassettes. And here you have Halloween 3 soundtrack release on a cassette. This is the first release of the cassette. It's basically the iconic cover, smaller version of it, with the little purple at the bottom. This is the first release. A few years later, they just changed it up a little bit, made it a little bit more modern, like they did in the late '80s with this, and they have the clear cassettes in the background right there. So that's what you're seeing right there. Whoops, sorry, I'm trying to get that glare to go away. But that is the second version, and then to match the Death Waltz release that I showed you, they did one on cassette. So there you go with that cover art. So this is the Death Waltz re-release of Halloween 3. And of course, my favorite form of music media, physical media, CD, which is starting to fall by the wayside too, which really aggravates the hell out of me. A lot of people aren't even putting their stuff out on CD anymore, which really pisses me off because I like to collect. That's, as you can see behind me, these are all CDs. I'm a physical media guy. I'm not a streaming person. I want a copy of everything. I want to read the liner notes. I want to read all about it. So here you have the first release of the Halloween soundtrack on CD. Gracie Sarah band back in the day. Great stuff. Awesome soundtrack to listen to, especially driving around the car. Then years later, they did a re-release now with this is expanded edition. You got some little clips from the movie and obviously the original soundtrack, but just a lot of fun stuff. Can't go wrong with anything on CD. I love CD. To me, it's my preferred form. You know, you guys can keep your streaming stuff to yourself. I like a physical copy. And there you have it. That is all of my forms of physical media of all the versions of Halloween 3 that I own. All the various soundtracks, all the releases of the movie. There's a few that I'm still looking for. I'm on the hunt for. As you can see, I don't have everything. Don't claim to have everything. Don't claim to know everything. But this is what I've collected over the years. And as time goes on, I'm still collecting. So hope you enjoyed going through all this with me. I will be doing part 3 next week, which is basically going to be all the other stuff left in my collection, which is basically the collectible aspect. Like you're seeing over here with the masks, and you're seeing right there the final processing sign or my Santa Mira sign. But there's a lot of other things that have been coming out, especially over the past few years. A lot of Halloween 3 love has been out there. So I do have a decent amount of other stuff. And we'll go through all the collectible aspects next week. And you can see what I have in my collection. And there's a bunch that's supposed to be coming out. From Trick or Treat Studios, I believe. I think I mentioned. So there's a lot onslaught of H3 stuff coming on. So with that, You see anything here you'd like to see me do a collectible spotlight on, or go back and do a deep dive on anything, just all you have to do is hit me up. Go check out my collection on Instagram at that Halloween movie collector, where basically my entire collection is there. And as new things come in, I post. So go check that out. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Hit that like button. It helps people find this channel. It's helping more and more people get eyes on it, and a lot of good feedback. And some people give me some other ideas. So be sure to, it's right there. Hit that button. Don't cost nothing. It takes 2 seconds. Hit that. Also, if you like, every Sunday night, I do the Halloween Collectors podcast with a couple of my buddies over on the Michael's Horror and Pinball channel. And we do it every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Talk Halloween, talk other horror movies, rankings, music, other movies, just break each other's chops, have a couple of drinks, and just see what kind of trouble we can get ourselves in by the end of the night. So be sure to go check it out. We also have a Facebook group. All the links in the description down below. So you can join the Facebook group for the podcast as well. And while you're in Facebook land, be sure to hit the button and join the Halloween and Michael Myers Collectors Group. Collectors Group I started about 4 or 5 years ago. Great place for information on collectibles. People post new stuff and do just basically everything to do with Halloween. It's in that group. So, and it's a good group of people. I've met a lot of good friends there, and I found a lot of cool stuff for my collection. Stuff I didn't even know existed. So it's a good resource, especially for you collectors out there. So join. So there you have it. There's part 2. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had as much fun sitting here getting me the geek out over all this physical media related to Halloween 3. I enjoyed digging it all out and looking through it. It's nostalgic for me. Now I got to put it all away, but I enjoy it. That's what's fun about having a collection, is revisiting it, looking through it again, and reminiscing about it. Remember where you got it. That's the best part of collecting. If you're not enjoying it, then don't do it. So, hope you enjoyed this. Come back for part 3 next week. We'll go through all the collectible aspect and maybe a couple other tidbits. And like I said, don't hesitate to comment. Throw out some suggestions. Hit up all my socials. I'd like to hear from some more people. If you're a collector, you want to come on, be sure to let me know, man. I got a few people, and it's just trying to get everybody's schedules to sync up that want to come on and do co-collector spotlights with me, and I want to do it because I want to see what everybody has. I'm a geek. What do you have? Show me. I don't have everything. I don't claim to have everything, so I'd like to see what everybody else has. Hear their stories of collecting and how they got it, and just anything to do with that. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I like to collect, and I like to meet other collectors. So be sure to come back next week for part 3. Be sure to hit that like. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and be sure to come back because I'll talk to you later.